This is the final Exodus. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Mitch, and this is the final Exodus. And I'm in turmoil in my heart because I have something huge for you. In fact, this is so big, I can't lift it. So, if I can't lift it and throw it, how much harder will it be for you to catch it? So, this is really, really huge. And the Lord met me this week through Scott and Rita, and He put truth in my path that I cannot avoid. I don't even know what to say. So let's turn to the scripture here, first of all, in Matthew 24:32, where Jesus says, "Now learn the parable of the fig tree." I honestly don't think there's many people who have learned the parable of the fig tree. And if you were asked to teach on this for 5 minutes, could you do it? Because he says you should learn it. One of the problems with our society today is that we've replaced the fig tree with ourselves. We actually think we're the fig tree or something. I don't know what we think. But the parable of the fig tree is about Israel. This is the parable of the fig tree nation, Israel. And it talks about it growing branches and leaves and summer being near. And when you see Israel grow, so you too, when you see all these things, recognize that Jesus is near, right at the door. Does that hit you in a fresh way? It should. Because do you know what year of Israel's existence we're living in right now? Does it matter? That's what we're getting into here. And I want to show you more. But he says, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. This generation will not pass away. And so I've shown you that a generation, as the days of our life, contain 70 years, or if due to strength, 80 years. This is a generation, 70 to 80 years. So this generation will not pass away. So I want to take a look at the scriptures with you. The scriptures have been being fulfilled regarding this generation, the fig tree nation, Israel. The history of Israel, 80 years on the earth. Do you know what year we're in? Oh, man, you got to pay attention. Hang on. This video is not going to disappoint. The information that's come forward here today, to me this week and to you today, is absolutely stunning. So let's review to contextualize where I'm going with this. So in 1947, on November 29th, the kings of the earth issued a decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. So again, what's central to the scriptures is Israel. That's hard for us because for some reason we all think we're central. We call ourselves the church, and we are the center of the Bible. But to realize that the church, if you want to call it that, is not the church apart from Israel. In other words, Israel's included. How could we set them aside and say they don't matter or they're different than us? They're not part of us. That doesn't even make any sense. The whole Bible is written about Israel. There are, just that word alone, Israel, there are over 2,300 references to Israel in the Bible. 2,300. That's crazy. And to say that you don't have the central part, well, okay, I'm getting off track here. Let's get back. But I need you to get this. Israel is central to the Bible. And so when Daniel 9:24 says that the kings of the earth shall issue a decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem, that's 9:25 actually. When he says that, that actually happened. Israel. And then Israel was birthed on May 14th, 1948, and the nations declared Israel as a nation. And so their first Shavuot. Now don't be thrown by that word. If you want, you can just put year in there. Because Daniel 9:24 says 70 Shavua, or 70 years, or 70 sevens, 70 Feast of Sevens, 70 Shavuot, 70 Feast of Weeks, 70 Pentecost. That's what it's saying. That's all it is 70 years. 70 years have been decreed for your people, Daniel, and your holy city, your people, Judah, and your holy city, Jerusalem. 70 years have been decreed to finish the transgression, to make an end of sin, to make atonement for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy place. 70 Shavuot. What in the world does that mean? Well, most people can't tell me what that means, but they don't agree with me when I tell them what it means. I mean, that's interesting to me. Well, it can't mean what you're saying, Mitch. 70 Shavuot have been decreed. And so we have dates here where these things have been happening in the heavens. These things have been happening in the heavens. I'm going to take a little tributary to explain what I mean by that. These verses speak about what happens in the heavens. And then there's a manifestation on earth. And we don't see it that way. We want to see it. We want a concreteness. We want a sign to be given. Jesus showed them all kinds of signs, but they couldn't see them because they were looking for earthly sign when he was giving them heavenly signs. And so there are things, you have to believe the word of God when it says this is going to happen in the 70th Shavuot. You just have to believe it, and then you'll see it. Rather than him proving it to you, and then you'll see it. And then you'll believe it. It's the opposite. So when he says 70 Shavuots have been decreed for your people and your holy city, that's exactly what he means. And so all this evidence has come forward. So in the 69th Shavuot was May 25th, 2017, when I fell out of my chair and I saw the fullness of the Gentiles come in. You're like, well, I don't understand what you're saying, Mitch. Don't worry about that. Just get this big picture. I'm trying to throw you a big picture right now. Israel has been unfolding right before your very eyes. And 10 days after May 25th, there was the 70th Shavuot where the foundations of the temple were laid. That's what the scriptures say. For your people and your holy city. In the 70th Shavuot. So that takes us up to 70 years. But what about the next 10 years? 2017 brought us to the 70 years. But what happened after that? Well, in the 72nd Shavuot, we saw a global event. Was this huge or not? Was this huge? Oh, it was so huge. And it actually ties in to May 25th, 2017. And you can't make that up. So in the 72nd Shavuot, the day everything changed, March 11th, 2020, the first rider on the white horse rode out conquering and to conquer, to undo the Babel effect, to eliminate national boundaries, and to make a new world order. We saw the effort go forward, and in the 76th Shavuot, at the end of 3.5 years, it was September 11th, 2023. Exactly 3.5 years after it started. This date, September 11th, also matches up with May 25th, 2017, in the fact that it is 2300 evenings and mornings after May 25th, 2017, just as Daniel chapter 8, verses 13 and 14 say. And this exemplifies the cleansing of the temple, the sealing of the bondservants, and the four winds of heaven being held back for about a half an hour. I've been teaching on all of this. This is all unfolding, and you'd see it, and you would jump up and down, you would hug each other, you would high-five each other, and your mouth would talk if you understood it. But does anybody understand it? Does anybody receive what I'm saying? Does anybody receive what the Bible is saying about Israel in these last days? But that's not all. I have more. Let's take a look at the context of what I'm about to show you today. And it is the four winds of heaven. So this is about the holding back of the four winds of heaven. We have four angels, we have the four corners of the earth, and we have the four winds. 444. And the angels are told to hold back the four winds so that no wind would blow. That no wind would blow on the earth or the sea or on any tree. And the four angels were to hold back the spirits from north, south, east, and west, so that they do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until, here's a time frame right here, until we have sealed the bondservants of our God on their forehead. And what I've been showing you is we're in this time period right now. After September 11th, 2023, all the effort by the global elite ceased. And we've been in a quiet period, and everybody thinks we've returned to normal. We sure haven't returned to normal. The four winds are being held back that they might not destroy. We are in the time of the four winds, and they're being held back. And what's happening right now is Israel is coming to Christ. Israel is recognizing Jesus in the 77th year of their existence. We are right now in the 77th Shavuot. Let's write that up there. We're in the 77th Shavuot right now. And you know, the number 7 is the number of completion. And that the temple was laid at the 70th Shavuot. And for the last 7 years, Israel has been coming to Christ. And the leaders among the people are teaching Jesus even now. Do you know that? Do you believe that? So, if we jump up here to Revelation chapter 8, let's go to 8:1. When the Lamb broke the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. This is how long the winds are held back, about a half an hour. And we've wondered, how long is a half an hour? Well, now we know. I'm going to show you something that Scott showed me that just threw me out of my chair. I'm not even kidding you. This just is so amazing, Scott. Scott and Rita, I have to say, we are having some fun now, aren't we? We're having some fun now. So Scott was in chapter 11 of Revelation, and he saw the context for verse 13. We're going to come back to this, verse 13. But look at what Scott was looking at here when he discovered what the Lord was showing him. It says, Revelation 11:3, it says, I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. So here we have the second 3.5 years. So the second 3.5 years starts when? When does it start, guys? We know that the first 3.5 years, we've already gone through the opening of the 7 seal judgments. And then the winds have been held back. And we wonder, when will the second 3.5 years start? When will they start? They will start after a half an hour. So how long is a half an hour? How long is a half an hour in the Lord's time, in this case? Well, this says here, now just stay with me here. This is the question we're asking. How long is a half an hour? Revelation 11:3 says that the 2 witnesses shall prophesy 1,260 days. And it goes on and speaks of this for these verses here in chapter 11. So the context of this is 1,260 days. Context, 1,260 days. 1,260 days. Got it? Context, 1,260 days. All the way up to verse 13. 1,260 days. And the same hour, there was a great earthquake. The same hour? What hour? 1,260 days. The same hour. At the end of it, there was a great earthquake. At the end of 1,260 days, in that same hour, there was a great earthquake. So what we have here is in the same hour of the 3.5 years after it starts, in the same hour, at the end of it, there will be a great earthquake. So Scott wrote me and he said, look at Revelation chapter 11:3 and see in verse 13 where it says, and the same hour. He says, so he wonders with me, is 1 hour 1,260 days? And a half an hour 630 days? And if we take September 11th, 2023, and add 630 days, Scott says, we get to June 2nd, 2025. Is there anything significant about June 2nd? Scott wonders. Lo and behold, if I go to my calendar, pull up the calendar for June 2nd, right here, the 6th of Sivan, it is Shavuot, day number 1. Shavuot. It's Shavuot. It's the 78th Shavuot. Now I just threw you a ball I can't even lift. I don't know if you can catch it if I can't lift it. But the Lord stepped right in my path and showed me what a half hour is. It's 630 days. And it brings us to the 78th Shavuot. Whew. Whew. We will be in the 78th Shavuot. We will be in the 77th year of Israel's existence. There will be yet 3.5 to 4 years before Israel turns 81. What will happen in the final 3.5 years of Israel's existence? Wow. Do you know the parable from the fig tree? Do others? Are you strengthening yourself? Are you strengthening others? What's the point of all of this? What do you think? How you doing? How you doing? Is this helpful? Are you standing there like a deer in the headlights? Are you grasping what I'm saying? Do you believe it? Do you believe it enough to teach it? I don't know. But I'm off on some kind of tributary looking for some vibe from you. God bless you guys. I'll see you soon.